receiving them.
Now, earlier in the show, we were talking about the latest phone call scams with scam interceptors Nick Stapleton. They really are just so convincing and can literally happen to anyone. And that includes long-standing BBC Look North presenter Peter Levy. Peter, good morning. Thank you so much for coming.
Good morning. I can't believe I'm in front of you about to tell this story. I feel mortified with embarrassment.
You shouldn't be, Peter. You shouldn't be. And I'm just so pleased you're here because I know you wanted to come here to share your story, to help others. So just tell us what happened.
7:20 in the evening, a guy calls from the fraud department of the bank. Mr. Levy, I noticed some unusual activity on your account in the last hour or so. Have you spent any money? No, I haven't. He knew my name. He was the right bank. And he had the phone number, the right phone number. You know, how do they do that? He was so... I mean, these guys could be actors. I mean, they're so good, so good. And I just fell for it, hook, line and sinker. And it went downhill from there. And I did, you know, I did the wrong things, you know. But, I mean, they're so convincing, as, you know, Nick was saying that. I mean, they're unbelievably convincing.
Yeah.
So initially you got a call saying they're from your bank. We know they're nothing to do with your bank. We've established that. We know they're fraudsters. But during this call, what did they ask you to do in order for them to ultimately try and get some money from you?
They said, we can sort out, you know, some money's gone from your account. We can sort that out. We'll get it sorted out. We just need you to log in to your account, which I did. But they were so convincing in what they were saying that I didn't question that it wasn't genuine. And I know, you know, I feel embarrassed, I feel ashamed, I feel stupid, but I went along with it. And then, and this is the crucial thing, and please don't shout at me, they asked me to download an app. And I downloaded it. And they said, can you just tell me, is your modem in a different room from your laptop? So I said, yes, it is. Can you go and look at the lights on the modem? And I looked at the lights on the modem. I was on the phone at the time. He said, just tell me what colours they are. So I told them, you know, green, blue, whatever. And, of course, while I was doing that, they were taking
and that's
control.
exactly what they've done.
And, you know, now I know I've been stupid and all the rest of it, but out of people watching Morning Live now, over the next week, sadly, a percentage of them will get the same call as I had. And through watching something like this, they will hang up and they won't make the same mistake. So that's the only good that actually can come out of it, because it is, I mean, they are horrible people.
Yeah. And they took half your life savings, Peter.
Yeah, and you know, I didn't sleep for 3 days. I felt physically sick, and I didn't tell anybody either, because you know, you're just embarrassed. And when you see your life savings go down the tubes like that, it is horrible.
But I think the fact that you're here today, openly talking about it, is going to give people so much strength to do the same, because that's the best way to tackle these kind of situations.
Well, I've already heard from people. Just this morning, I had an email from a woman who got the same phone call. She'd heard about this story, and hung up. And she wrote to thank me for that. You know, so that's the good that's come out of what's a horrendous story.
Peter, when you got this call, you said you thought it was from your bank and you thought that's who you were talking to. But what was the point during that conversation when you realised who you were talking to?
Well, once I had gone in the other room to look at the lights and then came back, I started to think, oh, my God, have I just done what I think I've done? Have I just... And then I said, I'm going to hang up now, I'm going to hang up now. And then he got really shirty, and he'd gone from being very, you know, polite, charming, to suddenly, well, if you hang up, you know, we'll never get your money back, and, you know, don't think you'll see anybody in the branch in the morning because they'll be too busy. And then he got very ratty. I did hang up, but of course, by the time I hung up, it was too late. The damage was done. And you just feel so stupid. Well, you feel so stupid.
Peter, you've said...
And as I say, I can't believe I'm sitting in front of you, of all people.
You've said you feel embarrassed, you say you feel stupid. The first thing you said to me when we met you backstage was you said the same thing, and you shouldn't. No. You shouldn't use any of these words, because you've been hooked in by a very clever scam. Nick, we've heard this language several times from victims. It shouldn't be anything that they feel embarrassed about. They've been a victim of a crime.
No, you're quite right. And research from National Trading Standards last year, that they found that 2/3 of people feel so ashamed or embarrassed after a scam that they don't even tell, a friend or a family member.
Well, that's that I did.
Exactly, like you, Peter. And I think a big reason for this is because the world of scams is essentially the last acceptable bastion of victim blaming. So commonly, in response to a story about scams, you hear people say things like, oh, how could they be so stupid? That could never be me. I'd never fall for it. But the reality is that that is team scammer behaviour. If you were walking around everywhere thinking that you're too clever to get caught by a scam, you're being complacent and you're opening the door to a scam catching you. And believe me, you're not too clever. There is a scam out there for absolutely all of us. It's just about it catching you on the wrong day, when you're perhaps your mind's elsewhere or something like that.
They panic you as well.
Exactly.
They get you in the palm of your hand very quickly. When they say, money's gone out of your account, you instantly go, oh, no.
That is exactly it. And I want people who have been the victims of scams to feel comfortable talking about it. And the way that we do that is certainly not by making them feel ashamed or embarrassed by saying that they've been stupid. So I think this happens to millions of people every single year in the UK. We know that now. It's a huge endemic problem in this country. And it's very easy for me to say, but I'd say, Peter, please try. You're not alone. Please try not to feel this way.
Thank you very much indeed.
And Peter, you've been interviewing people for over 40 years.
Oh, thank you for that.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that came in this morning.
I say that to only showcase how much of an expert you are at interviewing people, but you've never been on this side of the story, have you?
No, it's really weird because I'm normally sat, asking the questions, not having to answer them. So it is very, very weird.
Well, go on then. Do you want to ask one now? You've surely got a question for me and Nick.
What I did want to know is how many of these people actually get caught. That's the thing, because we keep hearing about it, but how many are done?
Unfortunately, it's extremely rare. So I think the latest stats that we've got suggest about 0.3% of fraud offences result in a charge. Yeah, so that's 99.7% of people like yourself who see no justice, essentially. But I don't want to lay the blame at the authorities' door for this, because these are exceptionally complicated investigations. If you imagine how well the money is laundered and how quickly by these scammers who've got established networks, it's out the country before...
Mine was abroad by 10:15 in the evening.
Exactly. And I understand that in your case they did actually get the money back from the scammers, but that again is incredibly rare. It's usually the banks who have to do it. And thankfully, we are in October going to have this change in law, which is going to mean that in situations of authorised push payment fraud, which is essentially what unfortunately you've been through there, the banks are going to have to refund up to £450,000 as long as that they can't show that the person's been unduly negligent, whatever that might mean. But that's going to be split between the sending bank and the receiving bank. So that should lead to a lot of victims of scams getting their money back.
Excellent. Well, Peter, thankfully, after a lot of heartbreak, you did get your money back.
I got it back, and thank God for that. But I don't want anyone, and for viewers who are watching, if you get that call, be suspicious. Just hang up.
Absolutely great advice, Peter.
Great, yes.
Thank you. And a reminder that Nick's scam advice from earlier in the show, if you're worried that you might be a victim, is on our website, and that's bbc.co.uk/morninglive.
Now, Peter, you've interviewed someone who, unfortunately, Rav and I have never had the pleasure of interviewing. Sir David Attenborough.
98 today.
Oh my gosh, 98 today.
And do you know the thing about him is he appeals to all generations. From 20-year-olds love him, right through to elderly people. They all love him, and he's had an amazing career. He was a TV executive. He ran BBC 2 years. I mean, you're both too young. No.
Thanks,
He was responsible for a programme again that you won't remember, Monty Python's Flying Circus. He also put snooker on the TV.
Wow.
When colour TV was introduced, he put snooker on the TV because the coloured balls.
It's incredible. Well, Peter, as you say, today is his 98th birthday. He spent most